Hello, my name is Lucas. This is a bit of lit, and I'm here to talk about my favorite books that I read this year, and also least favorite books that I read this year. And that's that. In the event that you were wondering why is he dressed so warm when he's inside, I'm going to put it as politely as I can and say that this fine piece of equipment decided I need to take a vacation and I will stop working on the first day of Lucas's vacation. And that's been my life for almost 2 weeks. Let's ignore the fact that the water heater also has decided I don't want to work and I'm going to let Lucas and his girlfriend be frozen every day. Um, because they don't need any kind of warm water. They're not paying for that. They also don't need any kind of heating because they can just be cold. How about that? Anyway, that's nobody's fault. But I'm not agitated in the least. You know why? Because it's time to talk about books. And books actually fill me with joy and let me forget these beautiful, beautiful pieces of equipment. That's only one of them. I'm not going to the other one. I don't want to look at it. Because I might actually get angry. Not that I am. Because I love being cold all the time, every single moment of my life. That's why I'm dressed this way anyway. Not out of bitterness, but out of desperation. So let's talk about my least favorite books because I'm in such a sunny disposition. And the books that I did not like that I read this year are all Stephen King books. Now, I didn't read all of his books, though I don't know if I would find one that I enjoy. If you are a fan of Stephen King, fear not. I'm not going to disparage the man or his work. It's just not for me. I don't like it. I don't like the characters. I don't like his ideas. I don't like his prose. I don't like the dialogue. I don't like his tropes. But I keep giving him a shot. I read quite a few of his books. I read Carrie, The Stand, It, there's a short story collection with the Langoliers. What else did I read? I read The Dark Tower. I tried to read The Drawing of the Three, and I could not do it. That was the last draw for me for this year. The Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce. I had a lot of strong feelings about, and I made a couple videos relating to that. There was also a couple books by C.S. Lewis that I read that I really did not like. The Last Battle, oh my god. What? Also The Silver Chair, what? What is the other one? The Horse and His Boy, what? Actually, The Last Battle was utterly insane, and I really didn't like that one. There were a couple other books that I did like when I read them, and then I thought about them, and I talked about them with some coworkers and some friends. And those are The Three-Body Problem, The Dark Forest, and Death's End by Cixin Liu. I can't say his name out. Cixin Liu. And this is science fiction authors from a Chinese author. Very nationalistic and misogynist. And that's about the only reason I didn't really like them. Kind of all over the place, too, in some ways. I read the whole series of Percy Jackson for the first time. Just not for me again. Not really bad. Just, I couldn't appreciate it. What else did I read that I did not enjoy? That's about it. Everything else I either really enjoyed or was apathetic to. Okay. Now to move on to the books I enjoyed in this frosty Arctic environment, full of joy and love. And if I made a video about a book, and you're wondering, is that book going to be mentioned? Perhaps a William Faulkner book that I read. I read a couple earlier in the year. They were fine. I did like them, but they're not my favorites. So they don't make the cut. They're in the middle. They're like honorable mentions. I reread 1984 by George Orwell, classic, of course. This Star Wars book, Tarkin, by James Luceno, excellent, very fun. Giovanni Boccaccio's The Decameron, excellent book. Christendom Destroyed was a history book as part of a Penguin series of history to go throughout time. Also very good. East-West Street, about the terms for genocide and about the Nuremberg trials. Also excellent. David Quammen's Spillover, excellent. The Book of Swords, Volume 1 and 2, excellent. Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, top notch. Number 2 favorite book this year. Emperors of the Deep by William McKeever, about sharks being apex predators that we need. Horrifying, but also excellent. Ursula K. Le Guin's The Word for World is Forest, top notch. Fantasy, science fiction, about the Vietnam War, actually, but it's about colonizing these planets with these forest people things that are very pacifist until they learn not to be, because they've learned violence from the Terrans, or whatever they were called. I also read Darth Plagueis, I think also by James Luceno. Very cool Star Wars book. Mort and Reaper Man as part of the Discworld series, following Death, these 2 books at least, by Terry Pratchett, also excellent. I'm looking at Goodreads to see what what books I read. I also read The Plague by Albert Camus for the first time, which is about a plague in a city in Algeria. But it's really about Nazi occupation. Excellent book. Much better than The Stranger, in my opinion. There's another book I read by a kid, not by a kid, my brother Charlie, which is by Holly Robinson Peete. It's a kid's book about this little girl who's got an autistic brother. Really good book. It's very, very short. It's for children. Yeah, I love The Magician's Nephew from C.S. Lewis. I don't really care about the rest of the series there. It's fine. And The Mountains Echoed and A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. Very good books. Very enjoyable. Loved them. A Canticle for Leibowitz by Walter M. Miller Jr. Really crazy, very strange book. But good fun, very good fun. Emma and Pride and Prejudice by, why can't I think of her name? Jane Austen, very cool. Click Clack Moo, Cows That Type, by Dorian Cronin. I love that series. Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, very cool. Gothic book set in Mexico. Flatland by Edwin A. Abbott, which is a very strange, early sort of science fiction thought experiment kind of thing about A square. What else did I read that I really liked? The Phantom Toll Booth by Norton Juster, really good fun, very good fun. In Dubious Battle by John Steinbeck. Paradise Lost by John Milton. Homicide, A Year on the Killing Streets by David Simon, also excellent. And I've got to say, the top book, also by Virginia Woolf. Number 2 was Mrs. Dalloway. The top book was To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. And that about does it. Those are the best books that I read this year. I read plenty more. Mostly Stephen King, though. And if not, they were just fine. I read a couple William Faulkner. I read some other children's books. There is some other book that I'm thinking of. I guess I didn't put it on Goodreads. there's this one about this girl that she really wants a giraffe or something, and she comes up with all these great ideas to convince her parents and her grandmother, and they think she's not going about it the right way. And then eventually she just decides to ask, please, and then they do it. Can't remember the name of that book. That was also very good. That's that. I'm going to be freezing in here and stop talking because it's hard for me to breathe with this on. Okay, bye.